Oh, you are so right, man. I mean, it's like, it's like 10th Avenue, freeze out, freeze out. 10th Avenue, freeze out, freeze out. The cold is back, yeah. I'm telling you, man. Well, where I'm in that mood because we were listening to The Boss before showtime, man. Remember the old neighbor that we had, like right next door, right behind you? She was all like, "Why don't you play some mellow music for all my clients?" That's not mellow, that's Bruce Springsteen, born in the USA, that's not mellow. I thought you were going to play something mellow, you promised. Boy, I am glad that she's no longer in the hair. I do see the red light on. So we are what? Live without a net! All stunts this morning are, performed by us. Stunts? Did you bring a helmet? Stunts. Cold this morning. What is it out now? Throw it up there, -8 degrees and falling. It's going to be cold for the next couple of weeks, at least. Yeah, not just, it's going to get into the teens by next weekend, but, yeah. Always great to welcome February into Montana. And it's my fault, too, Andy. Remember last week, on the podcast, I was going on and on and on and on. It's like, it's such a mild winter. The rodeo was in town. What else was I saying? Yeah, the rodeo was in town. It wasn't below zero. It's already, what's the worst? Blah, 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 and I jinxed it. Have you ever been watching an NFL football game or a college game or whatever, and it's the team's lining up for the field goal, and of course the announcer's like, he hasn't missed a field goal in 9,000 tries. The minute that you hear that, you're all like at home going, "Oh no, why did he say that? Why could he possibly be saying that?" And you're watching the game, go, "God, he jinxed him," and then of course the play goes, and the play goes, the snaps down, and it's wide right. It's no good. So same way that I feel that announcers and them did the jinx on the football game, I jinxed a weather. So winter's back, and you can blame me, right? Okay, I did it. Jimmy cut corn, and I don't care. Good morning. Good morning, Andy. Morning. It is Monday, February 3rd, and it's bitter out. Like I said it would, like I just said, it's like 8 below. It is what? It's not 8 below. What the heck? It's not 8 below. And it's 10 below. How did it go 2 degrees in like 30 seconds? Holy shnikes. 30 seconds ago it was 8. Now it's 10. Before we get going this morning, remember to hit that like button. It's right down in here. Remember, give me the old thumbs up. Don't be giving me the shaky thing. Don't be getting all Caligula-like and giving us the thumbs down. You're off with his head. Give him the thumbs down. Don't be doing that. Okay? But a like. Give me a like. Like it. It's going to be a great show. I already know what we're going to talk about. So you should like it right now at this point of the show, just on my word, that it's only going to get better. Okay? And if you haven't already subscribed, it's right down here. Right down there, somewhere down there. It's a subscribe button. Hit subscribe. That way you will get notified on every Monday's podcast, upcoming videos, and a chance to win fabulous prizes. What? We don't have fabulous prizes? What kind of prizes are they? They're sort of good. They're sort of good. We don't have fabulous prizes, but our prizes are sort of good. Come on, man. You're kidding me, right? Where's my prop? Gotta give him a big shout out. There we go. There's the prop right there. And a big shout out to our friends and neighbors down the hall, one flight of stairs down, and then 3 doors down, our good friends at the Great Falls Gazette. See, we got a color copy again, finally. Yesterday's paper, yesterday's, Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. It's locally owned, locally operated. It's got local reporters. We know everybody. You know, they're all about out downtown. Small town paper. I like how they started out. Now they've carved a nice little niche for themselves, Andy, in the community. Yeah, it's always informative and carrying this and that. It's a pretty good paper. Yep. We still haven't seen. See, right here on the cover, see, I was going to get 5 copies for my mother. Hey, gonna see my smiling face on the cover of the Great Falls Gazette. Oh, yeah. No, wait. We're going to be on the back page, on the Crime Stoppers page. Didn't I see your girlfriend on there last week, Andy? She was on we'll be on America's Most Wanted or something. Yeah, that's your girlfriend was on there last week, wasn't she? Good job. Yes, sir. It's a cold February morning. And as I said, it's February 3rd. And why does that date resonate with you, or maybe it doesn't, or why does that date hold significance in the rock and roll scheme of things, Andy, right? Let's look, okay. So maybe if I did this, you would, it's like long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile. And I knew if I had my chance that I could make those people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while. But February made me shiver with every paper I'd deliver. Bad news on the doorstep. I couldn't take one more step. I can't remember if I cried when I read about his widowed bride. Something touched me deep inside the day the music died. Andy, 66 years ago, this very morning, just a few hours ago, actually. No, yeah, just a few hours ago. Rock and roll icons, up-and-comers, trailblazers, Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and J.P. Richardson. You may know him as the Big Bopper. They were all killed in a plane crash shortly after takeoff near Cedar Lake, Iowa. The crash took the life of the pilot Roger Peterson, too. Like I said, just hours ago, the wreckage was discovered at 9:35 Eastern, which would be 7:35 Mountain. So, less than 45 minutes ago, our time, right now, they discovered the wreckage. What? No, I was only 3 years old when it happened. You know, my brother was older, you know, but I don't remember the incident per se, but their music was part of the early 60s culture, you know, and so I was very familiar with them. I was very familiar with the story. You know, growing up, it was still fresh. It was still, it's the very first time that anything like that had ever happened in music, you know. At the time, in 1959, 66 years ago, Buddy Holly was 22 years old, and his band, he just left the Crickets, okay? It was, Buddy Holly and the Crickets. Peggy Sue, Peggy Sue, Peggy, 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 Peggy Sue, oh, Peggy, oh, Peggy Sue, ooh. All right, anyway, Buddy Holly had just left his band, the Crickets, over management decisions, booking and arguments, basically. You know, and the band broke up. His new band consisted of Waylon Jennings, Tommy Allslap, and Carl Bunch. In 1959, because Buddy Holly had broken up with the Crickets, he needed money. Okay, and so they decided to do this Midwest Winter Dance Party Tour. That's what it was called, the Winter Dance Party Tour. You know, and it was across the Midwest. And what it was doing, we're promoting their new hit song. What hit song? Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yeah, that'll be the day that you make me cry. Yeah, you say you're gonna leave. You know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die. Yeah. Okay, they were promoting that song. It was dubbed by all the band members and all the people that were involved. It was the tour from hell, because it was just like the promoters had just like, well, you're going to play in Wisconsin and then over here in Iowa and then back in Wisconsin. They didn't. You know, there was no rhyme or reason. It was like reports and stories that I've read was like the promoters were just like throwing dartboards, you know, throwing darts at a dart. Oh, wherever it hits, that's where we're going to play. It was Midwest tour. The weather conditions were horrendous that year. Knee-deep snow, Midwest winter. You know, kind of like today, Andy, kind of like, you know, what's it now? Is it going deep? Nope, it's now it's 9 degrees. What the heck? All right. The weather conditions were, you know, weather conditions were just horrendous. Okay? But, you know, the tour was billed that, you know, the festival because of the rising performers at the time. You had Ritchie Valens, he was 17. Yeah. I have to. He was touring with that hit, the La Bamba hit. That was the first hit in America that was completely in Spanish. Okay? And so he was promoting that hit. And then, you know, we had Buddy Holly, we had Ritchie, J.P. Richardson. He was 28, musician, former disc jockey, radio disc jockey. He was known as the Big Bopper. You know, hello, baby. Chantilly lace and a pretty face. A ponytail hanging down. A wiggle in her walk and a giggle in her talk. Hey, makes the girl go round. There ain't nothing like the world like a big-eyed girl. Could make me make my money. Could spend my money. Could, what? I was getting carried away? You think? We got who else? Oh, they had those are the 3 main acts that people are aware of because they were the ones that died. But there was one more act, right? Dion and the Belmonts. Dion and the Belmonts, you know. Well, I'm the type of guy who will never settle down where the pretty girls are. You know that I'll be found. They call me the Wanderer. Bam, the Wanderer. I run around and round and round and round and round. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, Dion, man. Dion and the Belmonts. So that was a 4-band bill. You know, you'd have Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, Big Bopper, and Dion and the Belmonts. You know, and I mentioned, like, you know, now back to this, you know, I mentioned this, it was like the tour from hell. Okay? Like I said, the venues were, you know, they were 300-400 miles. They were driving in, they played in Iowa, back in Minnesota, then back to Iowa. Then it wasn't put in a row, they were just haphazardly. You know, the journeys between, with severe weather conditions, 300-400 mile drives. The entire group, Dion, Ritchie Valens, all their equipment, Buddy, they all trained on one bus. Okay, these buses were like, what were they at? What were they? They were reconditioned like school buses that they weren't good enough to be used by the school systems anymore. You know, they had no heat. And everybody was sick on the buses. The drummer, Carl Bunch, developed frostbite on his feet. And I'm giving you the background because you know, I'm giving you a little background here because there's a reason that things happen, okay? So after stopping in Clear Lake, Iowa, to perform, they were by that time the whole touring company and everybody would be like, that's it, you know, that's it, you know, I've had it up to here, the conditions on the bus, that's it. So Buddy Holly came up with the idea. It was Buddy Holly's idea to charter a plane to their next venue. And that was in Moorhead, Minnesota. Like I said, it was 300 miles away. Okay, now they had to play the next night. Okay, so they were getting done with their concert in Iowa, and then had to play in Moorhead 300 miles an hour, 300 miles away, the next night on this bus, and they just, old school bus, no heat. Okay? Yeah, so they had it up to here, you know, and the whole touring company, the whole shebang. And so anyway, now we've painted a picture, Andy, right? We got a picture. We got, young bands, up and coming bands. They got a 4 bands on one bill. It's a really good show. Hello, baby. It's a really good show. All right. They're making good money, they're recouping the losses that, So now we know that they're touring. Touring conditions are horrible, horrendous. Buses have no heat. They're driving 300 miles between gigs all over the Midwest in the middle of winter. It's February. Okay? It's January, February, okay? Like the song says. February made me shiver. Okay? Line's in there for a reason. Okay? So the most widely, after all the ground rounds, is widely accepted version of events kind of go like this, baby. It's like Richardson, the Big Bopper, he had the flu, okay, during the tour, and asked Waylon Jennings for his seat on the plane. Waylon Jennings played for Buddy Holly. He was a bass player for Buddy Holly. Okay? And Waylon was like, sure, they flip a coin, he loses, Big Bopper, right. When he got the plane, he got the seat. So Waylon's out, the Big Bopper's on the plane. When Buddy Holly learned that this piece of events transpired, and that Jennings was not going to be on the plane, Buddy told Waylon, jokingly, well, I hope your goddamn bus freezes up. Whereupon, Waylon jokingly replied, well, I hope your old plane crashes. A humorous, yeah, but ill-fated response, which Waylon Jennings said on more than one interview that it haunted him for the rest of his life. Another irony is that Ritchie Valens, who had a fear of flying in the first place, okay, asked Tommy Alsop for a seat on the plane, and the two agreed to a coin toss. Upon winning the coin toss, of course, Ritchie Valens quoted to Alsop, well, that's the first time I ever won anything. Yeah, kind of weird. And yeah, it would be the last time he'd win anything, too. The weather. So now you got everybody on the plane, okay? You see who's on the plane, who's not on the plane. There was a bus. The rest of them took the bus, okay? Dion could have been on the plane. He chose to not be. I mean, there's a long story of who could have been on it and who could have not. And, but this is the most reputable story of how it went down. And then with the weather, so now you got everybody on the plane. You got the rockers. And hello, baby! The Big Bopper, man. Got everybody on the plane. Okay? When the weather, they departed just after midnight. They actually, would it be 12:54? Okay, 12:54 a.m. They departed. When the plane departed, there was light snow, kind of like today. Winds were at the 20 to 30 miles an hour. It's cold. It's cold. It was in the teens. It wasn't as cold as it is this morning, but it was cold. It was kind of like today. The owner of the flying service that chartered Buddy Holly chartered took off. He could clearly see. No, I won't do it. He could clearly. I can see clearly now. Okay, you happy? Okay, he could clearly see the chartered plane's aircraft's taillights for most of the time. Reports say that as the plane turned and banked to, which way, Andy? Northwest. Turned to northwest. It disappeared from the horizon. That was around 1 a.m. When the pilot, Roger Peterson, failed to make the expected, phone calls, not phone calls, but radio transmit, phone calls. Hello? He made the proper contacts, radio contacts. Then the tower trying to start contacting him. They began to worry around 9:35 this morning. That would have been 7:35 our time. The planes, they got out, the owner of the charter service got another plane up, they got it in the air, and the wreckage was spotted less than 6 miles from the airport. As you know, there were no survivors. I started singing "Bye Bye Miss American Pie." Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, "This'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die." Don McLean there, American Pie. Whole songs. He died what? 2000, not long ago. No, not that long ago. This, like I said earlier, this whole incident was the first incidence of rock stars or anybody actually to anything like this. In a plane crash, it grabbed the attention of the whole nation, gripped the whole nation. An official investigation into this, it was noted that the pilot, Peterson, was not briefed of adverse flying conditions, and the pilot's unwise decision to attempt a flight at night required skill that the pilot just didn't have. If the proper precautions were in place, the whole accident probably would have never happened. So, well, I know that you're in love with him because I saw you dancing in the gym. You both kicked off your shoes. Yeah, I dig those rhythm and blues. Yeah, I was a totally teenage bronc and buck with a pink carnation and a pickup truck. But I knew I was out of luck the day the music died. And that's it today. This morning, on this date, just a few hours ago. That's what it's all about. So if you wondered what the song is all about, and if you wondered what the story was all about, well, now you know the rest of the story. Yes, sir. Told you it was good. Yeah. All right. Over the weekend now, before we go, it looks like we got a trade war going on with our closest neighbors in China. That's always good for the consumers. It'll drive up prices from absolutely everything. Groceries, cars, gas, small business supplies, you name it, That's what it's going to grow. A trade war, nobody wins except the governments in a trade war. Our president has levied tariffs against Mexico, Canada, and China. Mexico, Canada, and China. That was Saturday. On Sunday, yesterday, Mexico, Canada, and China retaliated and say, well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And they leveled tariffs on us. Like I said, it will affect the price of everything. Our president's like, it'll be a little painful, but it'll be short-lived. Short-lived is an understatement. We don't have the infrastructure, nor do we have the ability to compete or self-sustain. We're a consumer-based society. We don't have factories ready to go. We don't have refineries ready to go. Okay, an example, price of lumber, price of paint, price of car parts, everything's going to go up, price of food. I predict, this is February 3rd. Andy, can we take a note of this, look back on this podcast or this prediction in maybe, February 3rd, March, April, May, June. By July 1st, by the 4th of July weekend, we could see European gas prices. Oh, what are European gas? Oh, jeez. $7, $8, $9 a gallon. They go to the liter system. Yeah, so trade wars are not good for anybody, especially the consumers. The consumers of Mexico, United States, Canada, and China will all suffer because of this while the governments fight it out. Tariffs work like they just put the prices up, and when it gets to the port of entry here in the United States, they have to pay the higher fee, and then, of course, the grocery store, and blah, 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 and then at the end we pay for it. If you think bad things were bad a few years ago, or a couple years ago, or even last year, strap on. And what the problem is now, people, you can't blame the previous administration. Once this administration put tariffs on and caused other countries, it's 110% on them. So, Andy, are we done? We are done. Don't forget to spay and neuter. Adopt, don't shop. Foster, rescue, volunteer, and hey. Adopt a shelter pet today. Andy, until next week. We are out of here. Remember the day the music died. Buddy Holly, let's go. Hello, buddy.